There's a lot of talk about aggressive hunting tactics and really going in for the kill, finding that mature buck and finding out where he's bedded, finding out where he stays during the daytime. You're getting right on top of him, and you're trying to go in for that ultimate harvest, a quick harvest, and be very aggressive. And folks, you can look online, you can look at some of the blogs, articles out there, and videos, YouTube videos, and there's some really cool stuff that people are doing out there. But I want to tell you, when it comes to private land, and what I'm saying is small private parcels, and what I mean by that is 500 to 1,000 acres or less in most states, those aggressive tactics are probably not appropriate. And I'll give you an example. This is about 52 acres right here, this property. And we know where some deer are bedded, point back here, a couple hundred yards down in the valley over here. And we could go in on those bucks, and I could put a stand location in there. I could get really aggressive, try to get on top of them. And we even heard some grunting down there this morning. Might have been a great opportunity to try to get one of those bucks. But if we go in there and we don't get that buck, we're going to push him out, and we're going to destroy that bedding area for 2 to 3 weeks for at least that buck. And that's what it boils down to. We're in southwest Wisconsin here. I might see 2 to 3 bucks a year, 3 to 4, and I might harvest 2 or 1. So you don't get a lot of opportunities. Now, if you're in a state like Iowa, Kansas, Nebraska, locations where the hunter numbers are down and the number of mature bucks are up, and you can afford to go in on a buck, make a mistake, and then another one's just going to take its spot, and another one after that, another one after that, that's a great option. Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, Minnesota. There's a lot of states that have extremely high hunter numbers where if you have a small parcel, even if it's 500 acres and you're trying to go in and be overly aggressive, you could really spoil your land for the rest of the year. There's 2 locations where that being aggressive really pays off, especially going in and finding a deer bed and getting on that deer. It's public land parcels where bedding areas are very defined and feature only a small percentage of land. I'll give you an example, southern Ohio, public land where I used to hunt Shawnee State Forest, it's 63,000 acres. If you're going to try to go find a bed in there and look for that bed and go hunt it, you're going to be looking for weeks and weeks and weeks, and those beds are going to move. You're going to have a very hard time. Now, on the flip side, if you're hunting a northern swamp area, northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, Michigan, upstate New York, and you find those marshes and swamps where there's islands, and you can actually go out on those bedding islands, wait for that buck to come back to you. And I'll give you a great example. There's some areas in Wisconsin where there's distant ag fields. You're hunting back in the swamps. You're waiting for those deer to come back to those little islands, and those islands represent probably less than 2 to 3% of the entire acreage. Very easy to find a bed in that situation, very easy to get on top of it, and because it's public land and you're sharing it with others, great tactic to go in and try to capitalize on that movement right now, right away, as soon as you recognize it, because someone else might move in there and hunt that. That movement might change quickly with pressure, and that's a perfect opportunity to apply an aggressive hunting tactic that would not be appropriate on a private parcel where you're trying to maintain the integrity and the movement and the sanctuary of that property all season long. I expect my properties to be producing for me all season long, meaning that when there's a good day during the week, couple days, 3 days, I want to hit it. I want to be able to hunt it, and I don't want to be so aggressive that the deer are gone, I push them off the property. And again, if you're in some of those private, really high-end states where you have, Iowa, 65,000 bow hunters. Michigan had over 400,000 at one time. Kansas, 25,000 bow hunters, I believe. Wisconsin's over 300,000 right now, around 300,000. Big difference in those states where you can have high populations of mature bucks. You can afford to screw up on 2 or 3 of them, really mess up on them, and you're going to have another one that takes its place, or you're going to have another location that you can hunt, and very low risk in those situations. But when you're trying to maintain the integrity of that small property all season long, it doesn't pay to be aggressive. We have 9, 11 stand locations out here in this property. We skip around, we hunt high and low. We try to preserve those core areas of movement so that we can capitalize on them and try to hunt them every day of the season. And I'm going to stop talking now because I keep hearing things around me, and I wouldn't be surprised if deer's coming. But we have to be very careful on these properties, because if we mess up on a mature buck, we're not often getting another opportunity on that property. And if we do, it's one more, and sometimes weeks later, we have to preserve those core areas, and I suggest you do if you have private land, 500 acres or less, and you're in some of those states I mentioned, and the sanctity of that property is important.